Hello, welcome to Grind the Game podcast. Yes, we bring to you another episode here. As you already know, always when I do this, I always have my dedicated co-host with me here, and in the person of Manyeh Lisa. Welcome, sir, and how are you doing today?
I'm good and you, Kwaku. Thank you for having me on the show. Always great to co-host with you. And yes, man, let's get to breaking down, dissecting the issues of African basketball.
Exactly, that's all we do here. Today it's going
Yeah.
to be a bit interesting because we're going to look at the just ended ladies FIBA Women's World Cup qualifiers that ended in different countries. All sports has been booked already. Also, we'll talk about the upcoming BAL, which starts in 3 days' time, if I'm not mistaken, in
Yeah.
Pretoria. So, yeah, we
Yes.
have a lot to talk about, but I think we should start with the Ladies World Cup first, since that is done. So let's just speak about that and see how the African representatives performed across their qualifying groups or tournaments. Let's look at the first tournament in China, where we had the likes of Mali and South Sudan. And Mali was actually Mali sailed through. Mali have booked the qualification to the Berlin 2026, and that's no surprise. I would say that's no surprise. But what do you think about the whole tournament in China?
Before we get to that tournament, I just want to say I love this Mali basketball program. Whatever they are doing with it, man,
Mm,
I'm
yeah,
really impressed with it. From the men's side, the women's side,
yeah,
it shows, even if when you invest resources and don't take shortcuts, yeah, you can reap
yeah.
with the rewards of it.
Results.
And this is
Yeah,
what is happening with the Malian women right now. It wasn't an easy qualification process for them. You picked up a few things there, more like, a lack of experience sometimes,
hmm,
freezing in the big moments,
yeah,
punching above their weight and, also good fortune playing its hand in the final games. Belgium, getting that win over, is it the Czech Republic?
yeah.
Yeah.
Czech Republic. But
Yes.
I think
So,
that was predestined. Czech
yeah.
Republic wasn't going to win Belgium in any ways, though. So
So yeah, those are the things that I saw about this Mali team. Although I can must say I was impressed by how Maimuna Haidara finally stepped up.
yeah,
She's play like I saw her for the first time playing in the under 18 Afro basket in Madagascar in 2022, where she was the MVP. She took that tournament by storm. Another player, Elizabeth Kamite Dabu, who also played at
yeah.
that tournament for Mali. They played prior to that. They played in the under 16, under 16 Afro baskets, under 17
Baskets,
World
yeah.
Cups. Yes, and their careers have progressed since then to the next age group stage into the seniors. Both players played in the Afro basket. They had their first senior Afro basket the following year, I think, and played in the 2022 World Cup, Senior World Cup. So
Yeah,
they've been picking up that experience, and both players stepped up in this World Cup qualifiers that led to them, booking their ticket to Berlin, Germany. Yeah. Also, another thing, maybe Coach Umaru Sidia will be concerned about is making sure that his team is properly prepared. So he has from now until August, to make sure that
yeah,
his team is sufficiently ready for the best in the world when they get to Germany.
yeah, exactly.
Obviously they have had the taste of what how things will be when they get there. So this time around, it's a win or go home situation. They are not.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's basically win or go home in the matches that you have. I don't know. Think that there will be those kinds of Well, there will be those permutations. You are not the
Obviously,
few favors will be few and far this time around.
yeah, yeah. Well said. And yeah, I won't take what you said is on point. As you said, as you began with, the program of Mali or their build up to their national teams have been massive, and we've seen the massive progress. And we keep talking about this each and every time that other federations should learn from what Mali is doing. We've seen their men's team and their women's team taking the continent by storm, and it's no surprise. It's no surprise. Yeah, when you start something good, you actually
Yeah.
reap the rewards of what you are doing. Kudos to the federation once again for the work they are doing, and for the ladies team for clinching a ticket to Berlin 2026. It's good. We I think earlier to the qualifiers, we had a discussion, which and on this podcast, which we couldn't upload due to some unforeseen circumstances, and we said what Mali needed was just to get two wins in this
Yeah.
qualifiers. The moment they can secure two wins for themselves, they're putting themselves in that radar of qualifying onto the next stage.
Yes.
And then they actually did that. Even though it wasn't a smooth ride or it wasn't an easy one, you could see that these ladies were willing to fight till the last end. You could see the commitment. You could see the commitment of the courts each and every
Yes.
time these ladies step out to play. Kudos to Memuna Haidara, Sika Koni, and the other ladies. They've put in it a lot of work, and they really deserve the qualification. And I'm happy for them. I'm happy for them. Moving forward, what do you think about South Sudan?
Inexperience played its part. I think it was just a step above them. These qualifiers in Wuhan, I think they need to go back to the drawing board and maybe do what Mali is doing, building in from the
Mm,
grassroots. Yeah, obviously not a strong diaspora. I think it's not as similar to the one that Nigeria has,
GS,
but
yeah.
also they are a young country. Yeah, they are only just coming together after they've
Mm,
only just come together. I think in the first time they came together was already just before 2020, just before
yeah.
2020, I think. So yeah, a lot of work has to be put to make that a strong program. Like I said, they did well. They did well in the Afro Basket last year
Yeah.
by finishing third. Yeah, and in this competition, it was just what uh, I think it was always going to be difficult for them to,
Hmm.
make it to the World Cup. But I think the experience that they picked up in Wuhan will do well for them going forward.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think also from my point of view, I think they started very slow due to not having the full squad on board at that moment. With the likes of Rose and some players were missing from the onset. They didn't have some few players on set, and you could see that this team was missing a key player in the person of Washington. They were missing someone who could control the floor for them and then create those spaces on the court to get those easy baskets into the hoop. And I don't know why Washington wasn't with the team though, but you could see that they missed that kind of experienced player on the court who could handle things when the going gets tougher. But regardless of that, they put up also a good fight. As you said, inexperience counted in this. This is their first time playing on that stage to qualify for the World Cup, and I think they did better. They did better. I won't take anything away from them. They pushed. You could see that these ladies were also willing to fight to make their country very proud. Unfortunately, they couldn't get any win, and they bowed out of the whole qualification, and they couldn't qualify to Germany. But I think this is going to be a good step for them as they've experienced it in the first, as they've had a first-hand share of what it looks like. I think preparation will go into the next one, the next edition, and they'll fight really hard. If they can still maintain this momentum, keep this team together for the coming years to dominate in the Afro basket again and stuff. Because I see even in the next Afro basket, South Sudanese team is going to be a trouble. It's going to be problem because in their first season they went all out, tinted, picking out some giants when it comes to the continents. When it comes to basketball on the continent, I think if they can keep this same squad or group together, I think moving forward will be a bit more easier. Maybe we'll not even have to talk about they having to play in the qualifiers. Who knows? They can even win the Afro baskets with the determination they have.
I don't know. I think
Yeah.
that's a little bit far fetched, man. I think
No, that's what I'm saying.
this,
That's what I'm saying. If they can keep this group together and invest more into this squad, like side
yeah,
this team up, motivate them more, because we saw what they did. Nobody believed what they did in the previous 2025 AfroBaskets. They took in some giants, out some giants to clinch the third
yeah,
position. And basketball on the continent is changing as time goes on. So now Nigeria has, let's if we even look at the way Nigeria is going now, Nigeria has gotten to that limit whereby lots of players have reached their peak now and have to take a step back from the national team. We saw Sarah Ogechi, who also just retired from the
He's
national team
retired,
now,
yes.
and I think Ezine Kalu and the rest will be the next in line to also hang the JC or something like that. So yeah, as you said, these two team countries are having, they rely more on diasporas to come into the team. So
Yeah.
if they can keep good recruitment system, recruit more diasporas onto this team, I think who knows, they might also be the powerhouse moving forward. That's why I said maybe the next time we could see them win the Afro baskets. It's, we can never tell.
Yeah. Like I've said, I think I've said this before. Like why I
Mm,
like Mali and other countries, like country like Angola, where there's no big diaspora to rely on. They
yeah.
build from the grassroots, and it's
Hmm.
better. That is, it bodes well for a country because you are getting players that are playing together for a long time with
Yeah.
a same system, and the results are there to see. And I
Mm,
mean, like in the case of Maimuna Haidara Dabu, I mean, where you see Haidara, breaking out with 19 points against South Sudan in the last game,
hmm.
and then 24 points in that victory over the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
You can see that, whatever, and also the experience she has picked up playing in Spain, that,
Hmm.
she is now what? Growing into her game more at the senior level.
Yeah.
Abu as well with 14 points against the Czech Republic, 4 of 6 from 3 point.
Hmm.
She's always been a good 3 point shooter, and she's just showing it at this level. It shows that what they've built, and now what they are, the kind of players that they are producing in Mali, are quality,
Mm,
and they can acquit themselves on the world stage. Daboun recently moved to France after, playing for AS Dakar in Senegal, and
Senegal.
also playing for them in last year's, I think, FIBA WBLA. So
Hmm.
you can see that, you can see her quality. Haidara as well being an all-star five in those qualifiers as well.
Hmm.
Kudos to her, man. I don't know what else to say, but can expect quite a bit more from this Malian team if you prepare them. If they get to camp all together, all arrive on time, this
Yeah.
Malian team could do something special maybe at this World Cup. I don't want to count my chickens before my eggs
They
before they
hatch.
hatch.
They
Yeah,
hatch. Yeah.
yeah,
I think I could boldly say that what we saw from Memuna Hedara is the female version of what we saw from Siliman Kanute at the qualifying competition. Stepping
yeah,
up on the podium, taking things into their hands, and controlling the tempo of the game and everything. So yeah, I think we always say this. We always say this when we come here to talk about the continental or federation, and we always say Mali is a country or is a team to watch out for in this kind of competitions. I'm
yeah,
not surprised. I'm not surprised with the wings they are pulling or the strings they are pulling. So yeah, we should expect more from them. But I think going into the World Cup itself, it's going to be a much tougher competitions whereby because
exactly. Yeah,
teams are going to have teams are going to have a full set of squad to represent.
yeah,
There's a qualifiers, and we didn't see most of the players being called, so we could expect more in the World Cup. So I think moving forward, match preparations to be put in. It's just unfortunate that sometimes when it comes to national duties, ladies or those players don't get enough time to bond
yeah,
or to train. Having them for 1 month, working out together for 1 month, I don't think it makes quite sense to have a team train for 1 month to prepare for a tournament. But that is the situation in which we find ourselves, and we just have to live with it like that. Because the club side are the people spending much of the money on these
yeah,
players, and they dictate how the tempo should be run and things should be go. So if they want, they can release the player to you. If they like, they can say no. We still need this player in the team. So, yeah, they just need, the federation just need to put in some good scouting as well to see if they can get some stronghold players to join this set of players as well to prepare for them. Yeah. So yeah, and as for Sudan, that's been said. I think Sudan just didn't have the experience. They lacked the experience. I think key players missing out on the team also played a major role for them.
Yeah.
It's a learning curve. It's the first time, so it makes sense. They did very well. The result wasn't that bad as we should expected. It wasn't that bad like some teams we saw, some countries we saw, which broke our hearts though. But yeah, I'm not rating
Yeah.
anyone, but like I'm
Yeah.
just making stating facts clear.
Maybe before we go to Nigeria, let's speak about Senegal.
No, you see, I want to reserve Senegal's on for the last because I had
Yeah.
much confidence in this Senegalese team. I had much confidence in this Senegalese team, and I think they disappointed me big time. If I'll say the disappointment of this whole qualifiers, I'll say Senegal. Sorry to my Senegalese fans, but they know what I'm saying is true. Truth being said, they know what I'm saying because we saw a shambolic performance from Senegal throughout the tournament. The fact that you could even go losing out to Puerto Rico was the worst part of it because they needed that win. At least if they could have gotten that win against Puerto Rico, they could have qualified to the World Cup. But their result was very bad, very very bad because
I think,
losing they were losing by 20 points, 30 points in some instance, and I was like, what is happening to this Senegalese team?
man, I think the women's program in that country has been neglected a lot, you know. I think maybe when you just look at their records back in the day, they were one of the most successful teams in African
Exactly.
basketball. So you have to ask yourself what has happened since then. Why is there a lot more investment in the men and very little investment in the women? Yeah, you have to ask that question. I mean, I'm not surprised that the results were what they were for Senegal, given what I've just said earlier, that, it doesn't look like, yes, there's an intentionality from the federation to actually make sure that women are, actually participating in these continental tournaments. I
Hmm.
think the last two under 18 Afro baskets, we haven't seen a team from
It's no,
Senegal.
no,
From
no, no, no.
the under 16s as well, we
16
haven't seen
also we
that.
didn't. Yeah.
So, I mean, it tells you that there needs to be that kind of investment for Senegal to make their mark again on the continent and then to the rest of the world.
Hmm.
That being said, I think also you need to get to also look at last year's Afrobasket, where they had to squeeze out of the group games.
Hmm.
They got to the semifinals, but still, it was very
Dodgy.
shaky.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and they also eventually lost to South Sudan,
South
who
Sudan.
also had squeezed out of their group stage games. But
Hmm.
they are that South Sudan are what they were having a miracle run where, as Senegal, the last two, the Afro basket before this one, also they had to like squeeze out. They did well to, I think they got to the what in the 2021, was it 2023 Afro basket, where
2023
did
Afro
they,
Basket. Yeah.
yeah, I
I
think they
didn't
finished on the third.
I didn't follow that much back then. I didn't follow that much back then, but I
Yeah,
think they should be in the top four or something, if I'm not
yeah.
mistaken.
So you could see they were gradually, how can you say, like falling off the mark. And this is just what the World Cup qualifiers were just signaling that, it's time to start rebuilding for the Senegalese team.
Yeah, yeah. Truth being told, this World Cup qualifiers really exposed the Senegalese Federation when it comes to the women's basketball. Yes, I knew they couldn't win USA. That was a big task for them. I knew it's going to be I knew Italy was going to be a big tax for them as well. I knew Spain was also going to be a big tax for them because these are top nations when it comes to ladies basketball. Their projects they've been putting in shape has been massive, and I knew the Senegal ladies team wouldn't match up to these three countries. But I was looking for them. I was thinking Puerto Rico and New Zealand could have been an easy win for them to secure the qualifiers. And yes, they defeated New Zealand, but the major game they had to just win to secure themselves a spot was the Puerto Rico game, and I don't know what happened there. Yeah, truth being so told, I was really hyped up for Senegal. Even that the hype, like the kind of hype I had wasn't much to what I had for Mali. Even though I know
But
Mali would have
I
sailed
told you
through.
about, but Mali, man, you could see with Mali that,
No,
it was
I knew Mali
obvious
was going to
this
sail
was
through.
going to be, yes, obviously, sorry, their qualification process wasn't going to be easy, but
Mm,
like I said earlier, it also in my writing was that, they presented Africa with the best chance of having a second team at the World Cup
yeah,
to
yeah.
qualify for the World Cup. And that's what happened. I think you can see the building blocks that they put in to make sure that this happens for them.
Mm,
Yeah, with Senegal, they have to go back to the drawing board with their women's program and rebuild it. I
yeah,
think they have a good coach in Sheikh Sa. He's qualified.
yeah.
I think he was the last coach to qualify them, the women's
Hmm.
team, for the World Cup
Yeah,
in 2018. And if somebody knows how to build a program, it's him. We've seen his work in Rwanda. The results may
yeah.
not have been what one would have expected, but there are
It was a
certain
steady
things
one.
that Rwanda has to work on. But with Senegal,
Yeah,
they don't have the same, how would you say, challenges in terms of
yeah,
developing quality players for to compete at the international stage.
yeah,
They so to Senegal, man, just go back to the drawing board, yeah, fix the program, and yeah, get it on track again.
yeah. If you could recall in the last conversation we had, I was like, I see Mali going through with 2 wins. That only needed 2 wins to secure a spot, and which was right. I also came. I said, even though I was here blabbing that I see Senegal winning USA, which was I know wasn't going to happen, but I was tipping them to also win. I was also tipping them to win at least 2 games in their group, which was Puerto Rico and New Zealand. They
New
kept
Zealand.
one win, yes, but I don't know what happened. And I went on to say Nigeria at least should win 3 games in their group. So these are the kind of things you could see that this, though it was all these groups were tough, but it's left a pattern for us to read according to this qualifying system left patterns for the African teams. And you could see that these were clear patterns because each teams in each group needed at least 2 wins just to secure qualification to this World Cup.
Yeah.
Just 2 wins to secure qualification, except with the exception of Nigeria, who had already qualified and stuff.
Yes.
And I think Senegal needs, as you said, the federation needs to sit when it comes to the ladies program and find a way to make things better, make things better. Because when it comes to club level, you could see that they have a strong lady side when it comes to the club levels. But the national duties is it's so bad to watch. It's so bad because I couldn't even watch most of their games because I was like, yo, this is becoming so embarrassing. But anyways, I'm still for Senegal. Senegal rec. We will come back. We will come back stronger. So yeah, let's shift our focus to Lyon, France, whereby we saw
Yeah.
our defending champions, Nigeria, take out a group where they had Colombia, Philippines, Germany, Korea, France over there, and yeah, we could see much difference from the Nigeria team that played in the Olympics and the Nigeria team that played in this qualifying round. You could see a massive difference between these Nigerian teams,
Hmm.
and they really, you see that I wasn't expecting them to fight all out, knowing that they've already secured qualification, but they did very well, losing to France by only 7 points, which was crazy. The last time they played France, I think they lost by 20 something points, if I'm not mistaken. This time they closed the point to 7 points, which was an intense game. With Germany, they didn't look good with Germany though, but it wasn't that huge. I think it was less than 10 points or something also with Germany. The shocking result was Korea. I didn't know how they lost to Korea, but yeah, it's
No,
one of those
I think
moments.
I think you can't underestimate anybody on this stage. I mean, let me just go back to Wuhan. I expected Senegal to get a no, sorry, Mali to get a good result against China, and they started well, but then I think the second half they just had a meltdown against
Mm,
Brazil as well. Started very
yeah,
strong, dominated, led by a big margin, meltdown. So it shows you, like, You can't take any competition for granted at this stage. I
Mm,
mean, South Korea are probably also putting in the work and knowing that, we want to compete against the best countries as well. And
yeah.
maybe Nigeria might have underestimated them a little bit there. And yes, they got punished for that. Also, I don't know what happened to Amy Okonkwo in that tournament.
Hey, she was very silent.
Yeah, very silent. Her production dipped quite significantly. When you look at her
Hmm.
Afrobasket production, 14 points, 6 rebounds, 1.6 assists. And then in this qualifiers, 9 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Yeah, should we be concerned? Maybe because they've qualified. Yeah, you don't need to put that much energy. Let's see what happens in Berlin, kind of thing.
Mm,
But you also do look feel confident with players like Murjana Tumusa, 10.4 assists. She's
mm,
coming up 7.2 rebounds,
yeah,
2.6 assists. She's also doing well in her club situation. I think she plays in France.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yes.
France
So,
also.
yeah, yeah, a player like her has stepped up at this level. Victoria Macaulay, 13.6 points, 6 rebounds,
Hmm.
2.4 assists. Yeah, they did well. But you do need your Afrobasket MVP and team captain really to also lead the way for the team. So let's just hope that this was just her thing.
Yeah, as
Not
if you
bad. This
can,
is not bad. So yeah,
yeah, if you can recall, I clearly stated that I didn't expect much from Nigeria in this qualifiers. This was a
yeah,
preparation games for them, whereby they can use to prepare themselves. So I think with the production of Emi Okonkwo in this qualifiers, I'm not worried. I'm not worried about that. You could see that this was a stage whereby this stage gave opportunity to the other players to step up. Players like Elizabeth Balogu, Victoria, and the rest, Blessing, and the rest. You could see that this qualifiers gave opportunity to them for also to step up and give something for the team. And we clearly saw. So I'm not worried about Amy Okonkwo's production in this qualifiers. We know what she can do. She's a two
yeah,
times MVP when it comes to the AfroBasket, if I'm not mistaken. So it's also not been really that rosy for her when it comes to the club side, though.
yeah.
I think she's playing in Galatasaray, if I'm not mistaken,
Is it
in
Besiktas?
Turkey
I
or
think
something. Besiktas, yeah,
Turkey. Yes, I
Besiktas.
think she
So
plays
thank
for
you.
Besiktas. Yeah,
Besiktas. So it hasn't also been rosy there. We can't say, basketball is a game whereby you have your ups and downs. You have your
yeah,
best time, you have your low season. So it's kind of those moments. But we hope she could step up her game and come alive when the time is up in Germany and can lead this team to stardom as she always does. And yeah,
yeah.
as we know, the World Cup is going to be a very big stage, tougher
Yes,
competitions. Yes, sir, but to be honest with you, I'm happy with their performance in these qualifiers, how they step up. They made statements. They proved to these
yeah,
teams that, okay, we might become from Africa. We might not be regarded that much, but hey, you should watch out for us. We are a team to contend with also. Rubbing shoulders with the likes of France, rubbing shoulders with the likes of Germany.
Germany.
These teams are now prepared and aware of what they should expect when that time comes. Yeah, I'm glad they made a statement in the qualifying round. They didn't just take it as just normal warm up games or normal preparation games, but they took it very serious, as if their qualification was also on the line for the World Cup. So yeah, kudos to them, kudos to Nigeria. I think we've been hearing that some players are trying to switch their to represent Nigeria as well. So I think maybe moving forward, we could see some young lads fuse into this team because, as I said earlier, these are players who are getting to their limits, and
Yeah,
very soon most of them will be hanging their jerseys. So they'll need more recruitment as their system goes, depending on the diasporas. So I think they'll be
yeah,
needing more
man.
recruitment
I don't
and to
know.
blend in so that
I don't
these young
know
ladies
how
can also learn. Yeah, you can
I don't
make
know
make your
how much
submission.
of the diaspora you can lean on. I think Nigeria, well, they are a country with a big population
Mm,
within Nigeria. Of course, outside of Nigeria, they also have a big population. But I think maybe they also have to look at home and make sure that at the grassroots players are coming up and are able to have a chance to represent the country. Some players obviously will get college scholarships and go across to the states play.
Mm,
Some will go and play elsewhere. But I think one of the things that needs to be done in that country, particularly, have a much longer league. You cannot have the situation where you are having a league for 3.5 or two and a half
months,
or
yeah.
3 months. You need a very competitive
A
league
lengthy
that,
year.
that's placed at maybe 6 months at most, or 6 or 7 months maximum, and so that you can, be a very competitive nation. Yes, the diaspora has done well for them with the women, you know,
Mm,
them dominating the continent the way they have. But like you have just said, some players in their prime years, maybe exiting their prime years, and
mm,
they might experience a dip, and you're not sure if, yeah, that next coming players from that diaspora will be of similar quality, especially with
yeah.
countries like Mali coming up, South
Hmm.
Sudan making inroads, Uganda making inroads as well. So you have to, make sure that at the ground level, you are also having a conveyor belt of talent coming out. I mean, they had the under 18 team make it all the way to the finals of the
Mm.
2024 Afro Basket. So you can see there is talent, at home in Nigeria. So you need to make sure that you are honing that as well. And those players are getting opportunities.
Yeah, you see on the diaspora being having problem with the diaspora. I don't think Nigeria as a country would have issues when it comes to recruiting from the diaspora in terms of the
Yeah.
ladies, even with the men, because Nigeria fits on this system whereby they groom the local players. It's kind of they groom the local players, put them on that
Hmm.
stage through the junior levels, like they're using the U16, U18 tournaments, get these players out of the country to the States for high
Yeah.
schools, colleges, and stuff. And then they make sure that these players get proper training over there and get them back into the system. So I think Nigeria will never lack when it comes to recruitment of diaspora because that's how they've groomed their system because they know they don't have a good league to nurture these players in. So they tend to send these players outside. If you see their system, it's more like, and it's a West African thing.
Yeah.
Let's not take this away
But
from them.
My my thing with them is about that. Some of the players, like Amy Okonkwo, Ezine Kalu, yes, those are players probably born in the United States. Victoria Macaulay, I
Mm,
may be wrong about her, but they are born in the States,
mm,
coming to represent Nigeria. So they are not really what they are not as connected, to the country as you
yeah,
would
to the
want
roots.
them
Yeah,
to be. You would want, yeah, that kind of talent. You want your country to actually produce that level of talent. I think they are not short of it. Their resources, if they were correctly used,
yeah.
they could really, really help improve the standard of the game in Nigeria, because that's what you want to see on, because they have the posture of, yeah, we are the best in
Mm,
Africa, so they need to really
yeah.
act in that manner.
Yeah, hence I'm saying what they need to do now in order not to see a dip in the national team performance
Yeah.
is trying to bring in these players as quickly as they can, get recruitment as quickly as they can, fuse them into these senior ladies so that they can learn in time. They can learn also from these experienced players in time, send them to tournaments, friendly games, and stuff for them to also gather or amass the confidence they need so that in case this um, experienced players hang their jerseys, you won't have problem with the
Yeah.
system because these
Yeah.
young ones have been brought in to learn very fast, and I think that will also help because if we want to say Nigeria depending on their local talent, I don't think that is going to happen any moment from now or anytime soon. Yeah, we're not going to see anytime soon because this it's all about winning for Nigeria. That's how their system is being built. It's winning, winning, winning for them, and they don't really Sorry to say, they don't. I don't want people to get me wrong, but they don't really care about their development in their country, because you could see even their leagues. As you said, the leagues are just held for some few months, and as of today, I learned FIBA has approved for the expired presidents to still keep running in office again. His tenure ended, he's still running. So you see, the system itself is not helping. So I think local talents have already lost faith in representing in the national stage. Maybe those who still have faith are the ones who will come through the ranks of U16, U18, and so on. To get to the senior stage, these ladies, if you're not in the diaspora, I don't think you are going to even get a chance. Even with the men's team, we all saw it. It's all based on the diaspora. So I think
Yeah, but
bringing the diasporas in to learn.
yeah, well, on the men's side, you can see with the result that, it's what very competitive on the continent.
Mm,
And, they've only won one Afro basket, which was in 2015. Since then, it's
yeah.
been very difficult for them. So,
Mm,
they really have to maybe also make sure that they are producing quality players from
yeah.
Nigeria, playing in a very competitive league there in Nigeria. I mean, how else are you gonna get a strong national team? Because that's probably the standard all over the world, even in a country
Mm,
like Angola, who are the standard bearers for the men's game in Africa.
yeah.
Their players, yes, they come from the grassroots. Some will go to the United States, but you do have your guys like your Childe Dundaus who are playing
Mm,
in Angola, MVP of the Afro basket.
yeah.
Your Gerson Gonsalves, he played a little bit in France, but came back to Petro de Luanda to play for
Mm,
them. Abubakar Kaku who plays for Petro de Luanda as well. So it shows that, the system of, grassroots does work well if, properly implemented.
yeah. Yeah. Well said. And that's what you're saying. It's you clearly hitting the nail on the head, and you make a valid point there. But let's see what happens moving forward. Yeah, we just sit and watch, and we'll come back here to talk about it. That's what we are good for.
Yeah.
We good in doing so, analyzing the game and talking about what is going wrong and what is not going wrong. Yeah, let's shift our focus from the qualifiers and talk about the Continental League or the Continental Basketball, which is coming up. That is the Basketball African League, which will kick
Yeah.
off on the 20th right here in South Africa, Pretoria. We've seen teams trooping in already, coming into the country, the likes of Petro de Luanda, Dar City, Al Ali Benghazi, our own very own Johannesburg Giants already there.
Yeah.
APR will be landing in hopefully tomorrow.
You mean Tigers
RSSB
or
Tigers, sorry, RSSB Tigers will be landing in tomorrow, and maybe the rest of the teams will follow through. But let's take a look about how these teams. Let's analyze what we'd be expecting of these teams and who would make it through to the finals, who would bow out as well. I think we have teams like in this Kalahari conference, we have teams like El Ali Benghazi, we have RSSB Tigers who just replaced APR due to political reasons. We have Johannesburg Giants, we've got Dar City, we've got RB City Tenders, and we've got Petro de Luanda. If I'm right with the numbers, one, two, three, four, five, six. Yes, so six teams represented, whereby four will qualify to the finals in Kigali, Rwanda. What do you think before we take the teams one by one? What do you think about this Kalahari conference? What are your expectations?
I think it's a competitive thing, a competitive conference. I'm just worried about teams like Giants, Dar City, who haven't played competitive games to
Mm,
prepare for this BAL. You are seeing teams like Petro, their league is still continuing, so you expect them to finish in the top two. Al Ahly, Benghazi as well. They'll probably be competing with Petro for that number one spot. Of course, you have your Nairobi City Thunder. They finished at the top of
yeah, league
the road to BAL last year,
last
doing
year.
well. You just wonder what kind of team they're going to have. Obviously, there's no Ate Majok this time around to
Mm,
protect the rim protect to be rim protector, and also finishing up those finishing at the rim. Then, of course, you have your RSSB Tigers, just what remix of APR. They've been playing
Say
competitively in.
remix.
They've been playing competitively in Rwanda. So yeah, you just wonder maybe should they have let maybe James May just continue as coach, and yeah, maybe Henry Muinuka stay in Rwanda.
Mm.
And then yeah, so those four teams that I've mentioned, this is Petro El Ahly, Tigers, and Nairobi
Nairobi City
City
Defenders.
Thunder. They probably would look like your what favorites to finish
Favorite.
in the top four because of their competitive activity in the domestic league. Of course, the Kenya League also recently started, but yeah, the Nairobi City Thunder has been together for a long time, and also
Mm.
they will be full of confidence from their performance in the Road to BAL, obviously winning it for the second time. And you are hoping that, after the experience of last year's BAL, where they relied heavily on their imports, they've changed
Reports,
that
yeah.
culture to rely more on the domestic players and the imports just fitting in. So,
Yeah.
yeah, those are the teams. Then you are looking at your Giants. That team, they of course, when you have a coach like Floshe Mungwenya and
Mm.
quality players like Joshua Ozobo, Peter Prince Lu, Nino Dim, Nati Sibanyoni, who's also been playing in
In
Rwanda
Rwanda.
for like generations. Yeah, so they are a very strong unit, a very strong defensive team. We remember in the game against Dar
Yeah.
City in that final play where Nati came, I think,
With a block.
came through with that big block on Yusuf Ndoye. So
No
you
way.
can
Yeah.
expect more of the same defensive intensity from Giants. Then you look at Dar City. Yeah, I'm not so sure about them. Of course, they've signed Nizre Zuzua, the Ivorian sharpshooter. He
Yeah.
will probably, I think, he's one of the players that will probably play some heavy minutes there for Dar
Yeah.
City. Hashim Tabit, you're not so sure about him. I think he's reached
Yeah.
the end of
He's
his
big now.
career. He's now president of the federation. So yeah, and
Yeah.
uh, we've seen on social media that they've been hard at work practicing, training together. But have
Hmm.
they gotten quality that time together to? Have they gotten those competition to prepare themselves for this tournament? Yeah,
Before I go into my breakdown on these teams, let me put
yeah.
out the signings made by teams ahead of this competition. The teams
Okay.
that we have in this Kalahari. So we have Al Ali, who signed. They added Mohamed Harat from Algeria, Donovan Williams, Gojok Gak from South Sudan, Jane
Yeah,
Jacques Boissy, Mion Bosch from the G League,
yeah,
and Mohamed Sadi. Unfortunately, two players had to be dropped. Mohamed Harat couldn't attain his visa to South Africa, so he has been dropped. And I hear his replacement would be Majok Deng, which is yet to be finalized. My
okay,
sources. Garok Jok was being replaced by 2024 MVP and Defensive Player of the Year, Joe Lel Aquil, who is back with this team
yeah,
again to compete.
yeah,
When you look at the Johannesburg Giants, we've got David Gregg, who they signed at 7-3,
yeah,
signing at 7-3. He's added Caleb Maguire and also uh, from Australia, Maguire from
yes,
Australia, and also added Jacoby Hedy, who we later found out today that these two new signings has been added. Let's look at that city also. We have the Tanzanian born who played in the US, Ki Ali Atiki, who is a
yeah,
nationality, who was a Tanzanian by nationality. As you already mentioned, Israel Zuzuo Mitchell Foster Jr., who once played for the Philadelphia 76ers and in the G League
okay,
Ignite as well. We've got Maki Mitchell, who played with them in the qualifiers, road to BL qualifiers sometime. And he also played for the Boston Celtics G League team. He's back again. And we've got David Michinua, who played for Monaco basketball team in France. He's with them now as well. I couldn't get there are two signings I saw, a South Sudanese and an American, but I still not confirmed their names yet. I'm still working on that. And when we go to Nairobi City Tenders, we've got Joshua Inziako or Josh Inziako from
Yes,
the
it
Nigerian
is.
descent.
Yes.
Yeah, we've got Shahid Davis, an American also, and Lance Thomas, who is no stranger to the Nairobi City Tender team. He was with them throughout the throughout the qualifiers as well, and he's back to help the team secure a spot in the top four.
Yeah.
Petro de Luanda didn't make much signings this season. They only made three signings in the likes of Peter Jok, who is a South Sudanese player. He represented the national team at the Olympics and the qualification rounds. Also, we've got Javion Blake and also Chinemelu Elonu, who participated in the BL in the first season with Zamalek of a Nigeria Saints,
Okay.
is back again. He's
Yeah.
back again to compete. Yes, those are the signings we have for all the teams, and it looks quite interesting. So, okay, now I'll give you the chance to say something. Whatever you want to say, then maybe I could make my submission
No,
for
no,
these
you can.
teams.
All right. Yeah, man. All right. I think again, Petro, they are not gonna, they've got their core players, guys like Childe Dundao, again,
Hmm.
Abubakar Gaku, Gerson Gonsalves,
Gonzalez,
is it Clesio Castro,
Castro, yeah,
Gerson Gonsalves, Gerson Domingos,
yeah,
so
Domingos also.
they've got that chemistry right. So everybody who they've signed is just guys who are complementary pieces. They will come and
Hmm.
fit into the way Petro de Luanda plays. Yeah, again, you will not be surprised when Petro finish at the if they finish at the top of the table. Of course, at Al Ahli
Benghazi,
Benghazi, of course, with the signing of the former player Jolua Latril,
hmm.
Jean-Jacques Boissy, Mohamed Sadi, uh, three quality players that will probably get them to that second spot. You
Yeah,
just wonder if, they are not too heavily invested in the export players,
hmm.
helping them to get the job done. What is the state of the Libyan homegrown players? Are they good enough to play at this level? You do know that you've seen guys like Mohamed Sadi,
Hmm.
perform very well, leading Al Ahly Tripoli to the helping to lead Al Ahly Tripoli to the BAL title last year.
Yeah, yeah,
Another guy, Sofian Hamad, a big man who had a good performance at the road to BAL, 17.5 points, 4.8 rebounds, 2 assists. So there is a little bit of quality, but you'd like to see a little bit more of, the domestic players.
hmm.
And, do you think we still get the same Jean-Jacques Boissy that we got who gave MVP performances Al Ahly Tripoli? And also Jolo Lualachil, will he? Yes, we've seen him do well, consistently well when he played
Hmm.
for Benghazi in 2024 and playing for
Yeah,
what is it,
Alex, yeah,
El Ittihad of
yeah,
Egypt. So yeah, he will give you those quality minutes, but they will obviously progress, but it's probably about well, how far can they go this year? And
yeah,
then
yeah,
looking at Nairobi City Thunder, yeah, we've spoken about them, and let's see how well guys like Albert Odero, he's recently signed
yeah.
back because he's playing for the Tigers
RSV,
in Rwanda, yeah. So he's back with them. Captain Tyler Ongwae, he'll give the club quality minutes. A good shooter as well, a good slasher
hmm.
to the rim. And then Derek Ogechi, we
Ogechi,
still need a bit of him. He's a sharpshooter on a good day. Will he
hmm.
be able to, get to his spots and shoot the three? Then, of course, Josh Nzeko, he's a big man, an import. So he's probably the replacement for Majok, the rim protector
Hmm.
that they need. We'll see also his production, but at the other end of the court, what it looks like. And then
Yeah.
there's also a player of Somali roots, Nuruddin Aden. I think his last game he scored 28 points, grabbed 8 rebounds, 6 of 4 from 3-point range. So he looks like a good quality. We'll see how he acquits himself.
I don't know if
Then
they are
there's
coming with him. I don't know if he's with the team though. I don't know if
okay.
he's in the squad yet. Yeah, because
Hmm.
he's still young and inexperienced. I think they signed him mostly for the league. But yeah, who can tell? Maybe they
Yeah.
can bring him along. So I just don't know if they are coming with him yet.
Okay, all right. And yeah, I think looking at them, I think this is probably the year that Nairobi City Thunder step up and stake their claim in this tournament. After last year, again looking, it was very disappointing, especially given the amount of investment made into this team. Twice unbeaten in the domestic league, so a lot will probably think expected of them this year.
What do
And
you think
of
about
course, let's
What do you think about RSSB Tigers? RSSB Tigers also they've it's an infusion of players from different teams
yeah,
like APR, Tigers themselves, Reg and Kepler basketball team. The only imports that they've got so far is Magok Matien, who is South Sudanese, Vini Okoyo from Congo Brazzaville, if I'm being correct. Yeah, we've got last season's top scorer for the BL who played for MBB, Tifel Marquise Leonard, and
yeah,
Greg Leonard Randall, who was on fire in this last two games for APR, have been fused into this team. And we still have Ntore Habimana, Mpoyo Ezo, Adizei Diodone, Bizimana Paul, Faru Kado, Hagumitauli Stephen, Chiza Chandelier, and Atino Jackson Jr. So these are the team for RSSB.
yeah. I think they should have maybe just gotten all the APR team to form RSSB Tigers and run with them. I think trying to mix and match for this kind of tournament, yeah, might work against them. Coach James May, well, now it's Coach Henry Minoka. So
Yeah, who will lead?
but Coach James May properly knew the kind of basketball he wanted to play coming into
Hmm.
this BAL. It's just sad that, politics took center stage. But
Yeah,
now you've just got a mix and match, and you are also wondering how the coaches are going to work together. So I think there are a lot of question marks there about Tigers and the team chemistry and how they will do at this season's BAL. But the thing about Rwandan teams, they also follow the thing of relying on the import players. That has
hmm,
never really it's really ever worked
yeah,
for teams. It's always about the quality of the domestic players. So you wonder how guys like Excel Mpoyo will how Excel Mpoyo will play this year, and Dore Habimana,
hmm,
Diodin in Desire, players like those, they have the BAL experience, so, and also the national team experience. So
yeah.
you wonder I think it's more about a question is what are they going to bring into this year's BAL?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So for me, I think this is an exciting group with three new debutants in the likes of in the likes of RSB Tigers and Johannesburg Giants and Dar City, which are not teams you should sleep on as well. I think I'll start with El Ali Benghazi, which is a team well known when it comes to the BAL level. They were the first Libyan team to represent and went to the finals in their first ever season fell short to
Yeah,
Petro de Luanda. So as I see, there is pressure mounting on them. There is pressure
yeah,
mounting on them coming back because El Ali, their rival team, El Ali Tripoli, actually won it in their first season as well. So that
yeah,
pressure is what they are coming in with. So, and one thing we've already known about this North African teams is their recruitment level is top notch. They go in for good
yes,
recruitment level and they invest a lot in their teams when coming to this kind of tournaments. We saw them going to Turkey to have their camp there in Turkey. They moved from Turkey to South Africa to participate. So yeah, with the likes of Jane Jacques Bossy, Joe Aliu, Mohamed Sadi, who was with El Ali Tripoli last season. It's a good matchup. It's a good player signings. The
Yeah.
question you ask is Jane Jacques Bossy going to live up to expectations just like he did last
Yeah.
season? That is a question we have to leave for the gods to answer. But I think he's going to actually do something. Jacques is a kind of a player you don't need to rely on him that much. I think if he can be used the way El Ali Tripoli used him last season, coming off the bench to give those numbers, I think they can get better results from him coming off the bench instead of just starting
Yeah.
him and
Starting
making
him.
him a key player on the team. So, and this team is stacked with a lot of experience. If I'm not mistaken, they
Yeah.
are stacked with a lot of experience. If they can get Majok Deng, as I'm hearing, to join this team, then they are good to go. Yes, Johannesburg Giants, fresh to the competition, lots of young lads, lots of energy on the team. They've got one
Yeah.
of the best rim protectors in David Drake, who stands at 7'3", and we saw what he did with MBB last season. I don't know how, I've not seen the games of their new signings yet, Caleb Magua and Jacoby Hedy. I don't know how efficient they can be to this team, but players they've got in the likes of Nino Deem,
Yeah.
Ozebo, Peter Prinsloo,
Natis
T.
Bangeni.
Simbayoni, and those players, you know what they can do. With the veteran point guard Tabo, if the name I'm pronouncing the name correctly, experienced point guard Tabo. Is it Tabo? If I'm getting the name right.
Oh, you mean Tlohi Tolo?
Oh yeah, Tolo. Yeah, sorry,
Yes,
but I
Lehlohonolo
always
Tolo.
get
Yeah, he'll be coming,
yeah
of course. Yeah.
yeah, with his experience with the national South African national team and these guys as well, I think there are a lot to learn from him, and he can control some pace on the court as well. So yes, Johannesburg Giants are a defensive team. You saw that, and they're high of energy when they are going on attack. They are full of
Yeah.
transitional energy, and if you sleep on them, they can take you by surprise. Like
Yeah.
the likes of Aviwe,
Yes.
Ozobo and Dino Dim, those guys have got energy for days and can take you on at any point of time. They don't care what size you are or who you are standing in front of the rim. So yeah, that city is a team that I'll be looking out for. But the only problem I have about that city is how efficient their local players can be. Do they have a strong
Yes.
bench? That is my
Yeah.
question because we saw that affects them in the Elite 16,
16.
whereby, yes, against the game against Johannesburg Giants, they had to rely on
Yeah.
six players to finish that game, and it has always been a problem. I think that's the reason why they started their camp earlier. They brought in their coaching earlier to run with these guys and teach them a lot. But they've got a good signing Atiki, he's also a tall center rim protector who is very good. He can protect the rim for you as well. Nizre Zuzo, always a shooting prowess,
Yeah.
very dangerous when it comes to 3-point shooting. Mitchell Foster also kind of a rim protector, can give you all those defense you need as well, and also can give you the offensive numbers. Maki also an offensive kind of player. David Michenoa, who is a point guard who can control the floor for you, give you good numbers and stuff. And I think with the help of Coach Papi Geye and Nabil Kabalan, who has been signed
Yes.
to take on the mantle as coaches as well, they can lead this team far. I see them actually going far in this tournament, but the question is how the main question is how long are these imports going to stand? How long are they going to keep this energy? Because this is a new system whereby fixtures are packed. As I said,
Yeah.
if you lose your first game, that momentum is gone. If you lose your first two
Yeah.
games, then you're out of the competition because the first game
Yeah.
matters, the second game matters. The moment you lose these two games, that momentum is gone, and you should know you're out of the competition because every team is here to win, and every team will want to get the first win as well. The Derby City Tenders didn't have good starts in their debut season. That was last year. I think
Yeah.
the BAL fever caught up with them. That edge of we playing in the BAL and excitement. They were too excited and signed a
Yeah.
lot of imports which couldn't fit into the system for them. And I think they've learned their lesson. Coach Bradley IBs have learned his lesson, and they were like, no, this time around, I think we should go with a little key imports, which we will depend on and give the local players more time because these local players are also good. But
Yeah.
problem I have with the Nairobi City Tenders is they are coming from a league whereby it's not competitive enough for them. They've played this league throughout the season or three for the past 3 seasons now, going unbeaten and champions of this league. So the question is, if are they going this they are meeting champions from other leagues as well? Can these local players stand to these teams as well? Because this is a new level you are going to meet, new competition.
Yeah. I think one thing you can count on is that maybe the exposure of guys like Albert Odero, Derek Ogechi to NCAA basketball or the American
Mm,
college system where it's very competitive. They've also played a little bit overseas. Tyler Ongwai, he was a European champion,
Euro
Euro
Cup,
Cup champion as well
yeah,
at his club in, I think, was it in Germany where he played. So
yeah,
he's
in
a very experienced guy. Okal
mm,
Horanga, he's what played significantly in the continent and a little bit in the Middle East. Will
mm,
come off the bench to be but a steadying presence on the court. So
mm,
they are a team that have they have a solid core. They have players who can have experience at certain levels of basketball, at certain
mm,
levels in the game, and they've come together, dominated in Kenya, and they're here. I think it was like you said, learning from the mistakes
the
of the
first,
previous
yeah,
year and
versus, yeah,
hopefully correcting them this year and making sure that when from the get go, who you can rely on, and it's not
mm,
about making sure that the imports, are
get much time, yeah,
playing, a lot of starring roles. It's more your local contingent,
yeah.
delivering and making sure that the imports are just, fitting in and also giving you quality minutes.
Yeah. For me, I'm expecting much from Nairobi City Tenders in this season. I
Yeah,
see them to be potential threats also, but I still have my questions around them. Even though the players they've signed are good, the likes of Josh Ozeko, who has BAL
mm,
experience, played with Slag back then in the days. I think played in the first edition also. Just forgot the team he played with, but he's got experience in the BAL and is coming back to compete. Maybe the new faces like Shahid Davies and Les Thomas are being the ones who are also debuting in their first BAL season. So
yeah,
yeah. Anyways, I expect much from Nairobi City Tenders this season. They had a very bad run here through the last season, going 5 games without winning one.
yeah,
So I think this year they should do better. And yeah, Petro de Luanda, nothing much to say about them. They are always exceptional when it comes to this level. We will sit here, spot out some mistakes, few mistakes, or say things that are not up to bar. You could tell that these guys know each other very well, and we always keep saying this. This is a team with a good chemistry, good core, good fundamentals. They know each other like they are siblings. You see,
yeah,
and they don't really rely on imports. That's one thing I like about
yeah,
this team. They don't rely much about imports, but they've got good signings this season who could also, I think, will try fit into the system for them and help them go far as they stay top of the table and get into the next round. So yeah, Petro de Luanda as well. We're expecting much from them. I expect much from Nairobi City Tenders. I expect much from Al Ali. Oh yeah, RSSB Tigers. I have a lot of questions with this team.
yeah, exactly.
I have a lot of questions with this team. I see people saying, "Oh, they are coming with APR players. They are very strong. They are coming with good spirits and stuff." But my question is, the news broke up that APR was giving up on this tournament due to political standoff, and we saw that
Yeah,
the Tigers were replacing. But this team was put it together in some few months, less than a month. People would say they've played in the national team together. They've played well. They've got the chemistry and stuff. But I still think complacencies will set if they don't control their tempos well. Complacency will set into this team, whereby you have players from different clubs, Reg, Kepler, APR, and the Tigers, and the coaching staffs also are from different backgrounds. We have James
yeah.
Meyer who comes from James Meyer from APR. We've got Mukwena, coach Henry, who
Henry
is the head coach
Munuka.
of Monica, who is also the coach of Tigers, and legendary Kevin, who is also with the team as an assistant coach. Yeah, Kenny Gasana. Different tactical minds, different display. I spoke with Coach Maya, who told me that he's happy to be with this team and he has been given free role to operate on this team. He hasn't been restricted that much. And I say Coach Maya knows like 70% of these players like the back of his hands, in the like of Atino Jackson,
Yeah.
who played with them last season, Magog Matien, who played their last game, Randall Tifel Leonard. He knows how to use these players for this APL players well. So I just they feel that the chemistry wise will fail them at some certain point of the
Yeah.
competition. If they don't start well, that is where the problem will come in. But if they get their first win, then these guys will be gingered to go through the tournament. But if they lose their first game, I think that's where they will have the problem moving forward because there will be a lot of questions to be asked. There will be murmurings within the team, the camp, and everything. It could create a lot
Yeah.
of problems.
I think, yeah, just on that, of course, chemistry cannot be bought. And if a team that's cobbled up within a space of 1 month,
Hmm.
goes very far in this tournament, then you have to worry about the standard of basketball on this continent.
Yeah.
What does it say about the likes of the Petros, the Al Ahly Benghazis,
Hmm.
maybe in the other conference, the Club Africans, the Fuz Rabats, and the Al Ahly of Egypt. What does it say about them if, yeah, RSSB Tigers go very far and, cobbled up in just, a few months? But that being said, I think they probably will be one of the teams that struggle. RSSB, of course, they have very good players, but can they come together and go very far in this conference? I'm not so sure about them. I'm not so sure about that, given that, but it will, yeah, the proof of the pudding will be in the tasting about them.
Yeah. 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 That's well said. And yeah, as I said, I already have problem with them, but they put up a good team though. They put up a good team, but my only problem is these players are coming from different tactical backgrounds, different coaching backgrounds. Though they've played under the same umbrella before for the national team, but still, these guys work under different coaches and with different tactical stats or tactical mind. So let's see how this can work together. If they go through, then fine. They don't go through. But I still see them among the top four, though. I still see them among the team qualifying to Rwanda. Yeah. So, quick one before we go. I would want to know your
Yeah.
top four that you think would qualify to the next round.
Okay, top four. Wow. Of course, I'm gonna go with Petro.
Mm-hmm.
El Ahly Benghazi.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Nairobi City Thunder
Okay.
and our Giants.
Okay. Giants. Fair enough.
Yeah,
I'll go with Petro de Luanda. I'll go with Al Ali Benghazi. I want to see, especially, I'm more excited to see that matchup between Al Ali Benghazi and Petro de Luanda. 2024 finals, a rematch of that.
yes,
I want to really see that. I want Tigers to also go through for me. I want to see Tigers there, even though with their problems, I still want to see them there. The last one will be the toughest one for me now between Dar City, Johannesburg Giants, and Nairobi City Tenders. And the interesting part is these three teams have got beefs among each other from the Elite 16
yeah,
rounds, 16.
yes,
so it's going to be very tough among this team. But I want Johannesburg Giants to qualify since it's a South African thing. So I want to see Giants
yeah.
in the final. So yeah, I'm rooting for Giants to go through. And that's it to give up a good fight. They'll give a good fight. Now obviously Tender also give a good fight. But sorry, I need to go with Johannesburg Giants. So yeah, those are my top four. Those are my top four. I'll go
Yeah.
with yeah. Yeah, certainly, certainly. So, is there anything you would want to add before we end this session?
Oh well, we're just looking forward to the basketball, and people should come in their numbers to watch. A different level of basketball. I mean, it's the best in the continent, and I think it can only hopefully bode well for South African basketball that and
Mhm.
the leadership of this country's game really make a concerted effort to help improve, yeah,
Yeah,
structures and so on. I think that's my
yeah,
two
yeah, yeah.
final 2 cents for the evening.
Yeah, that's well said. Yeah, to my cherished viewers and audience, if you are in South Africa and want to watch exciting basketball, I think all of you should make your way through to the Victoria Sandbet Arena on the 27th to experience exciting basketball from the continent of Africa. Yeah, this has been another exciting episode and an intense one. So, yeah, we say this. We come to an end of this episode, and thank you for staying tuned with us. Don't forget to subscribe. Follow us on all social media platforms on the Big Tip Off and growing the game. And yeah, we say bye till we meet on the next episode.
Cheers.